these people what they came for. This is your moment. You gotta own it. Come on! All right, so we're out here at Lion's Den, Colmar, Pennsylvania, hitting up some what would be trap bar deadlifts if I was back in Untamed Strength, but in the spirit of strongman barbecue, I got to do some car deadlifts instead. Plan on working up and doing a few sets of 4 today, but who knows, we might throw in a single if we get ambitious or a little competitive. Let's go. Nice. That's it. There you go. Come on, Jeremy. Come on, let's go. Come on, Jeremy, let's go. I was tired of doing so many easy warm-ups, and I think the other guys were too. So I went ahead and threw on a couple of kegs, a 300-pound keg and a 275 keg. We load that keg on there. 300. There you go. Come on. Come on, Joe, let's go. Let's go, Joe. There you go. There you go, Joe. Go. Come on, bro, let's go. Come on, Alan. Yeah. Come on, let's go. Can't hold on to these bugs. Go. Try this again. Come on. There you go. That's it. Come on. Keep going. Come on. Come on, Alan. Come on. That was a fat jump. Let's go. Go. Yes. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
That's something.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh. Yeah. Same pace, same pace.
Come on. Come on.
Oh yeah, come on. There you go.
Let's go. Let's go, Omar.
Yeah.
Nice, dude.
Come on, baby. Go. Yeah. Come on. There it is.
Keep the rhythm, man. Let's go.
Come on. There you go. Come on, now, let's go.
Come on, let's go.
Come on. Nothing.
I shouldn't have had that Big Mac.
You tried to say about that. One's good.
Come on,
Come on, Joe.
Come on, Joe.
Go, Joe. Good shit, dude.
Now we can.
There you go.
Good. One on one.
Go.
We are going to feed the beasts inside of the lion's den.
Like, am I putting enough into it?
I think the obvious answer would be whether or not your numbers are increasing. And I typically, if I'm programming, it'll be for myself or for someone else, it'll be at 4 to 6 week blocks. Not always, but sometimes. So I'll leave a lot of stuff the same for 4 to 6 weeks. And if I'm not seeing any improvements or if I'm actually seeing regression, I'll change some stuff. If things are moving in the right direction, I'll keep that in.
Yeah, just kind of like piggyback on what he said. Like in terms of how you're feeling, like obviously everyone's different. In the first couple of weeks, if you're sore, like that's normal, or maybe try something different. But if you're sore like every single day for weeks on end and your performance is just going down in a negative trend, I would say that you're not doing something correctly. Or in the same aspect, if you feel great all the time, you're probably not getting anywhere near as much volume needed to actually cause an adaptation. So just tracking it in some way and being able to measure by like some sort of number, whatever, that you're getting better or worse.
Yeah, and I think it's fine if you're not sore continuously after every single workout and you're still able to progress. It doesn't mean that you're not trying hard enough. Sometimes having an effective workout doesn't mean that you're going to be sore or that you still feel at the end of the workout you could do more. If you're not bleeding through your nose, you're not training hard enough. Yeah, that's what you wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Does that like matter or stuff?
I'll let you go first.
I think for you, you just have to squat more, honestly. Like I think you're just pretty new to lifting, so I think just doing it more is going to help self-correct a lot of things that I saw today. In terms of depth and how heavy you were going, like that was fine. So I just honestly, like to sum it up, just keep squatting more. I think a lot of stuff is just going to work its way, out. Like in terms of just your technique and just doing the movement more.
I think that if, like I said in the beginning, this is just a blueprint of how we think you should squat, and then there's going to be personal preference involved in that. And I think as far as form, deviation, like if you're squatting and your elbows are lifting or whatnot, generally we would say that's not a good thing. But in my opinion, if it's not affecting the lift at all, then it's not something you really need to worry about. So if the bar's staying in place and you're maintaining your back angle, your back's not rounding over, but your elbows are moving a little bit, it's not a huge deal.
Yeah, I'd say ultimately you just want a repeatable process. However you determine your squat to be best for you, that's the type of squat that you want to do. So if, let's say, it's a certain percentage, there's form degradation. As long as Alan said, and Joey, as long as it's not affecting anything, it's just a mechanical, something that happens and you find you're still able to progress, it's totally fine.
Add like that type of pain, or if there's any like type of mobility exercises that can help out with that pain.
I would always, kind of do what you already have done. Try to adjust the position. If it's starting to affect you outside of the gym, and it's starting to affect your bench press or upper body lifts, so much so that we can't. And we tried to say, hey, we're going to do a few weeks of just lighter weight, maybe higher reps. It was still, exacerbating it. Ultimately, I would probably have a client do like a safety squat bar or even a high bar squat just to take some pressure off the elbows. But I would try to change one variable at a time and see if that does anything. Right now, if it's happening every time you squat, you're really sensitive to that and you're almost anticipating like, oh great, every time I squat, my elbows kill me, they hurt for the rest of the day. And so in order to desensitize you to that, I would try to avoid that pain for a little while by changing things like bar position or even the barbell.
I would say the same thing you said. We're pretty much on the same path in that.
Just out of curiosity, what's your external rotation like?
I don't know.
Like just like moving it back like that?
Probably
Yeah.
not, right?
Yeah, I would say honestly, you said you tried going more narrow?
No, I tried to.
Oh.
I like move it out a little bit. That
Yeah.
does help.
Yeah.
But I don't want to move it out too much because then I'm just kind of,
Not to be funny, but like why? What's bad about
Because
moving
I
it
watch you
further out?
guys' team videos. You say get it tight in. Better, like narrower is better.
So I would say it's definitely individual preference when it comes to that.
Okay.
I notice, especially big boys, when they tend to squat, moving out just feels more comfortable where they're able to get underneath the bar. For myself, I actually gravitated towards the opposite, where I found the wider I went and the lower, the more uncomfortable it made me personally feel, but that's where the individual variation. And so there's no, parameter here to say, oh yeah, you moved it, 3 inches outside of shoulder width, lift's done. It's like, if for you right now, it feels better and you're able, kind of like what Alan said, to train your bench press, your deadlift, and you don't have to deal with that aggravation. We are always thinking about your elbow as you bench.
Yeah.
That's better. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
One other thing might be if you're bending your wrist quite a bit with your thumbs around. I've found success in trying the thumbs over and vice versa. My thumbs over the bar with my wrist a little flatter actually was bothering my elbow. And so I wrapped my fingers around and actually just kept my elbows back a little bit, and that helped mitigate the pain. So thumb around, thumb over, moving the wrist position might also help. Yeah, I was going to ask like what exactly are you having an issue with at the bottom, but you said you feel like you're falling forward. I would. I didn't have you, or did I have you for squat?
No, that wasn't me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look at your squat. I don't know. I would look at the technique before I would just prescribe accessory movements. But I mean, maybe like a paused squat or a tempo squat just to change your cadence a bit. But I don't know. It's hard for me to answer. I would say that it would probably be the execution squat and technique before auxiliary movements. But if I was to put variations, probably a pause squat, maybe even a box squat, to where you just sit to the box and not really on the box.
Program for him.
You described this program.
Yeah. But you're still having the problem. Do you have the problem only when it gets heavy, or is it always?
It's always even like today I had a problem with the 255, and it's not really heavy. It's like 5 would be like a 7, so it's not really heavy.
Right.
But it just
What happens like randomly? Like he'll have like good reps, and then it's like a random, like the bar will roll forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You know, something interesting, I would say, we were talking about technical cueing, like thinking about how the body's going to move as you come out of the hole. I first heard it from Greg Knuckles, where negative reinforcement prior to working with, your working sets or whatnot. So let's say you have a tendency to rise out of the hole, warming up, instead of the idea of like, okay, I want to sit really upright, I want to come down, blah, 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 push myself into the bar as I come up. The opposite, where reinforcing or understanding the kinesthetic awareness of how your body's moving, where as you squat down, you warm up, and then you purposely either will reinforce whatever your technical mishap is to get that in your head, and then oh, that's kind of wrong, or I don't want to do that, is easier than the concept of positive reinforcement for a lot of lifters. Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of ways. I would first ask, if you sent me an email and I was programming for you, I would first ask how much more time you have available, and then what kind of equipment you have.
I have a home gym, squat rack, 45,
Well, what kind of strongman stuff do you have?
nothing yet.
Yeah.
Working on getting a tire,
Yeah.
make some sandbags.
I would start with sandbags, because you can carry a sandbag, you can do sandbag over shoulder, you can load a sandbag. But yeah, it depends on what equipment you have. But I always think of programming in a whole bunch of slots. So I have squatting slots, I have deadlifting slots, I have pressing slots. And that all depends on your current routine. Let's say I had 2 slots of each, 2 deadlift slots. One of those slots I'm going to deadlift. The other one I might do tire flips, right? Or I might do Atlas stone loads. And then for pressing, one of them is going to be overhead press. The other one might be a log press. See what I mean? So that's usually how I program it. It's based on the individual. I know it's a very general answer, but I don't think you should worry too much about like, I don't want to do too much or whatnot. Like, have some fun with it. If you're like, I really want to hit some tire flips after my deadlift session, just do it.
So like conditioning problem.
Yeah, you could do it in that way, yeah. You don't have to treat it like all as strength movements, but just additional accessory movements or conditioning would be a good place to start.
yeah, I would say any of your main movements could just be easily altered to mimic something in strongman. So as simple as even just swapping it out for an axle bar for a press one time, or any of the deadlift variations, like he said, tire flip. Get a sled if you have a sled, like just use that as conditioning to give you that feel. Just basic things can be altered, even like grip wise. Get back grips. Yeah, if you want to do something like that, just basic. But you don't have to do anything crazy. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, don't try to make a perfect program. It's okay to have fun, you know what I mean? I have this equipment, I want to use it, just do it.
I get more pretty fast on the
Yeah.
5x5s.
Yeah. You don't want to do too much because you might just get too strong. So.
You have friends? I'm just kidding. No, but like, yeah, you can easily, like, I remember I started off in a garage, same situation by myself. I literally had some people in the neighborhood come work out with me. You know what I mean? So it's something simple as just having a training partner, or just inviting someone else that holds you accountable for one. So on days maybe you're not feeling it, you have this external, source coming in, which is kind of like your pick-me-up type of deal where you guys can respond off each other. and just getting after it that way. But some sort of community to me has always been something that's really, strengthened my intensity. So like you said here, but whether it was in the garage, whether it was a team, like whatever, I think just something simple as that could really help, with what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'd say, Andrew, you're a smart guy. The biggest change I have observed personally for myself was entering an environment where so many individuals were strong. But if you're training at home, how do you replicate that, right? Something that I found, there's a weightlifting gym in Toronto called 6for6, and something I really appreciate that they do, you get a TV or laptop screen, what have you, in your basement, and a highlight reel such as they'll show weightlifting competitions, and they'll have training camps, so from Bulgaria, Russia, it doesn't really matter. It's like an hour-long video of individuals lifting a certain amount of weight, and it's kind of inspirational to see these people to know, not that, oh man, I'm gonna do the same thing, but that it's possible. And I think joining Fortis Fitness, when I saw people like that guy, like Jeremy Hamilton, just lifting 300 pounds more than me, it wasn't just the environment, but the idea that it was possible for me to try and strive for more continuously was motivating personally for me. So you kind of have to figure out what motivates you, or what is it about? Okay, so it's like a louder environment. Is it the external stimulus of the music? Like, what was the thing that was getting me more excited? The people around me. It's like, well, if you can't repeat having more people around you, it's like maybe you could try and belong to a community by showing some of that stuff. So if I was to build a home gym, I think I would have things like, if I'm doing, let's say, more strength style training, just powerlifting meets going on in the background. So I could just see that, and you feel that sense of intensity that you can't replicate because no one else is around you. But at least you could see it and know, I want to shoot towards that. So it's like a proxy almost. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think other than that there's any way to actually replicate it. It does take a certain personality type to want to train alone in their garage. But I would say that, and I'm not, Joey's not paying me for this, but if you can somehow get into a gym like this, like once a week, like at Untamed Strength, we have an opportunity, you can come once a week on Saturdays during a certain block of time and train. And so a lot of people who already have invested in their own home gym, or who have a membership at just a commercial gym, but they like to come in once a week just to train in that environment, then that's available to them. So if you can find that to where a lot of people all or nothing. I have my own home gym, I can't come to the Lions Den, but maybe you can figure out a way to come here once a week or something like that. So yeah, and then train, save your really big, intense days for when you get to go visit that gym.
Are any of you guys in the Iron Lions Facebook group? A couple of you guys? Yeah. So it doesn't have to be like just any Facebook group. Something I created kind of to address what you're talking about is we have people in the Facebook group who are constantly posting their lifts, kind of like Omar said, and we put out like weekly challenges and different things which may make your intensity increase to want to upload a video or share your story. So that is another alternative if you don't have people that you can train with. Just joining, like Omar said, kind of piggyback on that, but there's Facebook groups all over, Barbell Medicine Facebook group, like belong in different groups, and maybe one of them will hit you more than another, but it could be just something a little bit that helps keep you going.
Be a little more specific. What do you mean? Top 3 tips for what, a beginner lifter or something like that? We kind of answered this.
Sounds like a video we just made.
Yeah. I'll let one of you go first. Do you have anything?
I would say the biggest thing that I've learned recently is kind of, he mentioned earlier, just having fun. Don't get so attached to the identity of the lifter you are. And yeah, sorry.
Where'd I hear this before?
This is a paraphrase from a 25-minute long video. No, but yeah, just okay. I'll just use the fun one for example. For me personally, as a competitive athlete, it's easy to get stuck in that rabbit hole of the pressure you put on yourself, or even you guys with just your own lifting journeys, or you watch videos and you have to get to this weight and this is the number. But the thing is, you're going to get there at some point. And when you get there, then what? Right? You're going to think, oh man, I've arrived here. I thought this was going to be it, and it's not. There's going to be the next thing you're going to strive for, and it's going to be a lifelong process, hopefully for all of you guys, and that's why we're doing this. We're trying to beat it for the long term. So if you don't include that element of fun somehow in there, and keeping it fun, and keeping yourself training and staying consistent, there's not really going to be much of a benefit to doing it. So make sure that you guys include that element in there so you stay around for the long term, especially if you're a beginner, because you're going to be focused on those numbers that you're setting in your head. So I would just say, have some sort of element of fun in it and just stay around for the long term.
Yeah, I don't, it would take me a second to think about three clean bullet points, but like he was saying, I think that it's important to actually enjoy it, because when things do get tough, or when you do experience setbacks, enjoying lifting or the passion you have for it, that's what's going to get you back in the gym. And I see a lot of beginners at Untamed Strength who come in doing a beginner program, like starting strength or like Strongless 5x5, and once that program stops working, they get to the point where they absolutely dread coming to the gym. The last thing I want to do is go squat 3 sets of 5 with 5 pounds more than I did last time, because last time it nearly killed me. And if that's the case, like, it's okay to say, I don't want to do 3 sets of 5 with 5 more pounds. I'm going to do whatever, something else. I'm going to do a couple sets of 10. It's not as precise as people think it is. So if you're dreading the gym so much because you hate what you're doing, you should probably change it.
I'm just going to disagree with them to be different. No. I would say absolutely. I think fun is very important and novelty to get you into the gym. I think trying to cultivate a certain level of stoicism, so an emotional detachment from not the overall process. You need to be process oriented, but understanding that setbacks are going to happen. So your emotional state is not dependent upon the outcome every single time. Oh, I missed that PR. I'm really demotivated now, because motivation kind of waxes and wanes. It builds over time. Maybe you hit a PR, you didn't reach your fat loss goal, whatever the case might be. Trying to cultivate some of that discipline, and I said stoicism, so you're able to celebrate in small ways some of those victories, but if you experience some of those setbacks, you have enough modalities or enough options in your head of things you want to do different or other goals that you want to tackle, that it's not this roadblock, right? So you have this identity, it's like, oh man, like, I start lifting now, I want to get strong, I want to compete, I want to go to nationals, I want to win worlds. Like, you just have this whole narrative in your head that I just started lifting in the first few months, and now I have the next 3 years of my life planned out. I think being a little adaptable in the face of that is very important, and that's where the fun and the novelty, the why you lift in the first place. So maybe some of the philosophical underpinnings of why you lift, exploring that a little bit more, I think increases your buy-in. I could say is a small little personal anecdote. From exploring that in 2019 for myself, my buy-in has reached an even higher level, and normally if I became more, instead of process-oriented, being goal-oriented, oh, I didn't achieve this. Like, I wanted to increase my deadlift by 20 pounds this year. Shit, it didn't happen. Like, what's going on? Or if I achieve that, I feel this new burst of motivation to go to the next step, as opposed to, you know what, these are the things I want to do. How am I going to try and do that? Oh, it didn't happen. What can I do from there? So the process versus kind of the goal. So fun to get you in the door, that novelty to make you stay, and then trying to cultivate over time some of that discipline. So when the bad things happen, or when it doesn't go your way, you're adaptable.
And this that applies to like general population. None of us absolutely have to lift weights, you know what I mean? But if you were to say, I want to go to nationals and win, I want to get a first place medal at this next powerlifting meet, I want to get drafted in the NFL, there are things that you have to do whether you want to or not. But just generally, like, hey, I'm losing motivation in the gym, I don't know how to get it, these things apply.
I think real quick on the flip side with that is the amount of people that I talk to on a daily basis that just don't even have a goal. Like, just starting so simple of like having a goal, not just kind of wandering in the gym doing whatever, which is okay at some point, but actually sit down with yourself and map out the goals you have is going to help guide you along that path. And there's a lot of people that don't do that, and it's such a simple step that I think a lot of people miss out on, and that's just going to hold you even accountable to just keep doing it. Like, if you sign up for that competition, you got to do it. That's going to keep you showing up to the gym and working. Not, for the most part, you're going to enjoy that. But even if maybe you have a down day, it's still that thing in the back of your mind that's like, yeah, I got that competition in a month. Like, that could be what's separating you from not getting in the gym versus getting in the gym. But I'm a big fan of just writing down those goals and seeing it through.